What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. Go and check out our website, WeAreTottenhamTV.co.uk, for our latest Tottenham articles. And if you want to be in with a chance to win some merchandise as well, a t-shirt of your choice, leave whatever it may be. You think it may be clever, you may think it funny, you maybe think it's stupid, but leave a comment and we will be doing a show reacting to the best comments, and we'll be picking out a comment of the episode, and if you win that, you'll be getting some free merch. So do go to check out the website and leave a comment on any of the articles and we'll check it out. But let's get into the update, and it's from Tom Barkley, this one, talking about Hojbjerg and Lo Celso, and he says the current expectation is that Hojbjerg and Lo Celso will stay at Spurs unless they push to leave the club or the club receive offers that they feel that they cannot turn down, especially as the club are not actively to look to move them on, in part because Yves Bissouma and Pape Matar Sarr will be heading to the AFCON in January. Do you feel like this is the best way to go, or do you feel like we should be looking for replacements for them in January?
No, I think 100% we should be looking to keep them, because it's hard to find ready-made replacements in January. It's hard to plan for things in January as well. And I don't expect too much movement. And 100% what Tom Barkley is saying about the African Cup of Nations, we're going to need these midfielders to be available and ready to play. So for me, unless I agree, unless we get like a ridiculous offer where it makes complete sense to sell, I think there's no point like rushing them out the door in January.
Having said that, I mean, I agree with you when it comes to Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg, but it's a big kind of month now for Lo Celso, isn't it? Because he hasn't been given a look in as of yet. He wasn't given the nod at Molineux. So if he can't get in the team, or even when he does get in the team, he doesn't impress. Or, look, he did have a bright cameo when he came on at Molineux. Then would your opinion change on him and look to replace him in January?
If he's not getting any minutes between now and January, then yes, I would get rid. But I think he will. So I'm basing my opinion on I think he will get a bit of a chance in the team between now and the transfer window. And because Maddison's out, so it's crucial that he does. If he's not going to get his chance now, I can't see when he will. So I'm going to assume he will get chances, and hopefully he takes them. And if I think he's still a good player, and he can be not an important part of the team, but he can kind of do a job for us if need be. So that's why I'd keep him. But I agree, if he's really not getting any minutes, even with Maddison out, I'll get rid. There's no point keeping him around.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Eric Dyer once again, as a Roma publication claimed that Mourinho has specifically requested that Roma sign Eric Dyer in the January transfer market, as Tom Barkley says that Eric Dyer could leave in January, although Tottenham would want a fee and to sign a replacement in order to let him leave in the winter. I mean, I can't imagine them getting too much of a fee, as his contract is up in the summer. Mourinho, do you think Dyer would take? Do you think Mourinho would take Dyer again?
I mean, one of Dyer's best form for Tottenham was under Mourinho. Well, probably that bit where we just started the season and we were top of the league for a bit and we were keeping clean sheets. Dyer was, I remember one of our player ratings, I think it was against Man City, and we gave him a 10 out of 10. So he was like playing very well under Mourinho. But then again, it did go wrong. It didn't just go wrong for Mourinho, it also went wrong for Dyer at a time as well. He'd started losing his form. So I don't know what their relationship is right now, but I do think he would probably suit Italian football a bit more right now, where his career is at and where he's at as a player. So I think Roma have some good centre-backs though, so I don't see him going there and definitely commanding a starting spot. But for Tottenham's point of view, anywhere will do, I think. It doesn't really make a difference for Spurs.
I think Eric Dyer would really suit the Italian league. I think it would be right up his street, to be honest. And it's a manager, like you said, that has got the best out of him, albeit a short space of time. But I can see him going to the Italian league, and specifically Roma, and doing really well. I really can. I mean, it's probably much better for his career and his development to go out there than anywhere else right now, because he's just rotting away at Tottenham. That's just what's happening.
It's not helping anyone, him being a Spurs,
yeah, exactly. A potential incoming at the back lines, Lloyd Kelly, once again, as Tom Barkley says that most probable in January is that Tottenham do bring in a new centre-back, with Lloyd Kelly still amongst their targets. We have heard actually in recent days that the likes of like Juventus and Milan are looking at Lloyd Kelly at the moment. His contract as well is up at the end of the season, so could be an opportunity for a cut price fee in January, but apparently they're still talking about 25-30 million, which is crazy to me.
It's madness, and I don't think Levy's going to stump up that kind of money. He does have to balance it out, because he has to balance out the threat of missing out on Champions League football with the fact that we have to lay out a substantial fee. He has to kind of decide what where the balance is on that. but I don't see him landing on paying 25 or 30 million for Lloyd Kelly. I think he's probably going to. I could see him maybe paying 10 or something like a decent fee. It's especially if we're still obviously very short of options, and obviously a lot depends on our form between now and January. If we're still defending fairly well, not conceding too many goals, I don't see him maybe panicking. But if we're like all over the place and just losing games left, right, and centre, then maybe we. Again, a lot depends on how the next few games go. Maybe he will be pushed to sign a defender. Maybe even if it is 25 million, he'll think, look, we're just so desperate, we need someone. But I think right now, if you're asking right now if he's going to spend 25 million on Lloyd Kelly, I don't think so. But
these two stories could be interlinked, right? Because if we do get some sort of offer, I don't believe we will, but let's say we do get some sort of offer for Eric Dyer, then that will probably fast track a move for someone like Lloyd Kelly.
Yeah, you would think so.
Next up, let's talk about some potential incoming attackers, as Tom Barkley says that Santiago Jimenez and Jota are amongst the attackers that Spurs are tracking, although an addition in that department is rated as less likely than in the defence at the time. At this time. And I said in the summer how much I do rate Jota. I think he's a top player. He knows Ange's system, and I think he's a position that we need as well, on a top quality addition that we need in the left wing anyway to really complete that attack. And I think both of these players would be unbelievable for us, to be honest, and it will go some way to kind of fixing that front line that Ange Postecoglou has been speaking about.
Yeah, and I think we do need a bit more just quality in the front line. I think we've got good players, but we don't have, especially out wide, I feel like we don't have much killer instinct. And maybe Jota can bring a bit more star quality potentially. I think obviously, as you say, Ange knows him. Something's gone wrong with him in Saudi. I don't know why he's been so unsettled, or he just hasn't been able to get any game time, or something's happened with him and Nuno. But then again, they have a new manager now, so maybe things will change with him and Jota and how settled he is. Obviously, Jimenez we've spoken about a lot in the upcoming months. Again, I don't see a move in January being likely, but and that also could cause us to miss out on him. But I think he looks like a real talent at the moment. Big, tall, fast, has a real great finish. He seems to be exploding at the moment. So definitely one that is attracting a lot of interest. I'm not surprised that Tottenham, given Son's age and all that kind of stuff, are in the market for a striker.
It's mad with Jota because we were obviously linked with him in the summer. He ended up going to Saudi. Since mid-September, he's taken part in 2 games. It's mad. For a player of that quality in a league like that as well, to not getting a look in hardly at all.
It's bizarre.
It really is, isn't it? Because you're looking at, I know this Al Ittihad, they've got a bit of a star-studded team with all the players that they signed with Benzema. But I'm looking at their front three. I don't even know 2 of the players in their front three. Like Romarinho, who's a 32-year-old Brazilian, and you've got Coronado, who also
it's clearly not
another
a quality
Brazilian
thing. I mean, it must be. It was not. I don't think it's because he's not good enough. It has to be some sort of personal issue.
Yeah,
he had.
I don't know what it is
behind the scenes. No one's really been able to clear it up.
Another player that Spurs could be looking at. Freelance journalist Steve Kay says that Tottenham are monitoring Barcelona winger Raphinha ahead of January.
Yeah.
He's also not really playing the role he wanted to play at Barcelona when signing there. I think obviously it would command a lot of money and probably high wages as well, but what a player this guy is.
Well, the reality is he's been shown up by Yamal, isn't he?
Yeah, 16-year-old.
Who's been unbelievable, and he's been better than him in the short space of time he's been in the team. Raphinha's now been there, in January will be 18 months. Obviously, it's not a long time, but he maybe hasn't made the impact he would have liked to have hit at the moment, and he's struggling to get regular goal contributions, and then Yamal has come in. And literally a 16-year-old's coming in. He's for club and country. He's getting consistent goal contributions. And obviously, maybe it's not fair to if Yamal's supposed to be this unbelievable next star in the making. Maybe you're saying it's unfair to compare him to Raphinha, but Raphinha is in himself supposed to be a world-class talent. Supposed to be they signed him for big money from Leeds. Was very sought after. Chelsea were after him. Arsenal were after him. Spurs were after him as well at the time. So you would expect him to be definitely performing at a higher level than a 16-year-old, and at the moment he's not, and that must be frustrating for him. And I think he's a great player, or he was at Leeds, but have been very disappointed from what I've seen from him at Barcelona, to be honest.
Yeah, me as well. But I still think he would be a great asset whoever he goes to as a new signing. But put it this way, let me give you a hypothetical. Like if I said to you, right, because I know you love Decky, like if I said to you right now, you could swap, forget money, forget wages, forget everything. If you could swap Decky for Raphinha right now, would you take it?
It's a tough one.
Decky's 23, 22, 23.
And Raphinha's
26.
26. Would I swap them? I think probably would, yeah. Probably would. I think Raphinha's just got a bit more in the final third than Kulu. Yeah. I actually think Kulu maybe his all-round game might be just as strong. I think he's stronger than Raphinha. Raphinha's obviously faster than him, probably better at dribbling. I think Kulusevski's probably a harder worker than him, but when you get in that final third position, that bit of clinical edge, I think Raphinha has the edge. Free
kicks as well, set pieces. Yeah. I agree. I think I would 100% take Raphinha over Kulusevski. I think Raphinha's top quality. I rate him so much, man. I think if he was in our team, he would bring that fear factor to the front three that we're kind of missing at the moment.
I rated him really highly at Leeds, but he hasn't been good at Barcelona. So it's tough to put your finger on what's happened.
Sometimes just it's not the right fit. Maybe it's just not the right fit. Maybe I don't know.
The case. It must be worrying though.
Yeah. Let's talk about our players that have been taking part in internationals last night. First game we're going to talk about is Azerbaijan 3, Sweden 0. Dejan Kulusevski playing 90 minutes in a horror show for Sweden, to be honest, out in Azerbaijan. Kulusevski made one key pass, made 7 out of his 13 ground duels, 1 out of his 4 crosses was successful, 1 out of his 2 long balls, 4 out of 6 dribbles were successful as well. He played in a front 2, I believe, in a 4-4-2 system. But what a horror show that is.
Yeah, and I was actually looking at the group Sweden are in, and they're already out, obviously. They're not going to qualify for the Euros, and they're well behind. I think they're 10 points away from second place. I think it's Belgium in that group. And that's really disappointing for a team like Sweden, who are regulars at these big tournaments, always perform well as well when they get there. That is really, really shocking. So I don't know what's happened to them. I mean, they've got some good players. As you say, Kulusevski, they got Isaac
was out, yeah.
They got the guy from Sporting who played up front with Kulu. I don't know how you say his name, Gyriakos or something. He's scoring a lot of goals at the moment. So they got some good players there, but they've had a horror show this qualifying.
You're talking about the chap that was in the championship last year for Coventry.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next game, which was a massive game in the South American qualifiers. It was Argentina 0, Uruguay 2. And actually, this was the first 2 goals Argentina have conceded since the World Cup final. The first loss Argentina have had since that Saudi game in the World Cup. So literally haven't conceded and haven't lost a game in basically a year, which is crazy for the world champions Argentina. Cuti Romero did play 90 minutes on the day. 8 passes into the final third, 5 recoveries, 4 touches in the opposition box, 4 ground duels, 1, 3 out of his 4 tackles, 1, 3 aerial duels, 2 clearances, 2 interceptions, 1 shot on target, 1 chances created, 1 foul, 1 and 1 headed clearance. I did see the goal that Darwin Núñez scored in the last minute. First of all, Rodrigo Bentancur was the one to win it back off Leo Messi in their own half, but Darwin Núñez did get the run on Cuti Romero, didn't he? Cuti Romero was very high up the pitch in his own half.
It's the last minute, what do you expect?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying Darwin Núñez absolutely sped past Cuti Romero like he wasn't there pretty much. Lo Celso did come on for the last 10 minutes, and like I said before, Rodrigo Bentancur came on with half an hour, so good to see some more minutes in his legs.
Yeah, I actually watched this game, and Uruguay were well worth the victory, I felt. Defended so well, and actually Marcelo Bielsa at the moment, and playing some really good fast-paced, pressing, attacking football, which obviously got them the win. Really impressive. Núñez was giving Romero a bit of trouble, although I thought Romero handled it for large parts quite well. Did get his customary yellow card in the second half, going through the back of someone, which is classic Romero. I think he, in general, he had a pretty decent game. Nearly got on the end of a cross from, I think it was Messi from a free kick as well. So nearly getting on the score sheet. So he had a decent game. Bentancur had a pretty good cameo when he came on, to be fair. I thought he was looking decent. And as you say, was involved in the counter-attack, which led to the second goal. That was a really good moment for him. And he played for a good, 25 minutes.
Half an hour.
Hour. So really good. good to get him more minutes in his legs as well. That's only going to serve him well. And Lo Celso also had a bright cameo when he came on. Unfortunately, I think he came on
10 minutes
quite
to go.
late on, and they got the second goal pretty soon after he came on. But he was also quite bright. A lot of the attacks were going through him, and they threatened to get a late consolation to pull one back, and they didn't quite happen. But he looked bright as well when he came on. He seemed to be very trusted with his teammates, so that was also a decent cameo.
Yeah. All right, and last but not least, Colombia 2, Brazil 1, another game in the South American qualifiers. Emerson Royal playing 90 minutes in this game. And very much a depleted Brazil side with no Gabi Jesus, no Richarlison, no Neymar, to say just a few that were missing out. But Emerson starting at right back, playing 90 minutes, 1 clearance, 2 tackles, 3 key passes, 1 big chance created, 3 out of his 7 ground duels, 1 out of his 2 aerial duels, and 1 out of 1 dribbles. I have seen a report, and there's not exactly glowing reputations of Emerson from last night, I had to say the least, but not glowing reputations from any of the Brazil centre-backs last night. I saw a lot of heat coming onto Arsenal's Gabriel as well at centre-back yesterday for his poor performance. But yeah, it was very much a makeshift Brazil side, so I wasn't too kind of surprised with this result, but it was a great story to see Luis Diaz score 2 goals in his home country with his dad watching from the stands as well.
I was actually watching this game as well, and Brazil.
Double screen, did you have?
I did, yeah. Brazil were actually quite good for a large part of this game, especially in the early exchanges. Brazil were well worth the lead. Obviously, Martinelli scored, and they looked like it was going to be an easy day for them. But Colombia really fought their way back into this game and didn't give up. And I have to say, Emerson had a torrid time against Diaz. Obviously, Diaz scored twice, but it wasn't even the half of it. He was just giving him a terrible time out on that left-hand side. He couldn't really deal with him. And even before Diaz got the double, he had numerous chances to get on the score sheet. It looked like it was going to be one of those days where it wasn't going to be his day, actually, funnily enough. And then it actually turned out to be his day specifically after the 2 goals he scored. And those were such heartwarming scenes. Like his dad in the crowd, like it seemed like he was possessed by something, like watching his son score the winner. It was actually lovely to see that moment. Luis Diaz probably couldn't dreamed of a better moment after having his dad return from being kidnapped. So well worth the victory, and Brazil really let this game slip away from them, and Emerson had a really poor game.
Yeah, I was actually I didn't watch the whole game, but I saw like the first 20 minutes, half an hour, and I swear like Luis Diaz had about 5 shots in that first half an hour, didn't he? I don't know how many he ended up with, but yeah, look, it was a great performance from specifically Luis Diaz in a very heartwarming moment, scoring 2 goals in front of his dad to go and beat this Brazil side as well. So it seems all open in the South American qualifiers with Colombia, Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. I'm not sure what the Chile result ended last night, but all of them are very close, not close, but up there, very tight in that group. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. But we've got a whole weekend scheduled of international football, so we'll be back early next week for another international roundup. But let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding everything that we've spoken about today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.